Hey, are you ready for a layout update? I haven't done a layout update in, oh gosh, probably like a few months. We have a lot of stuff that's going on in this layout right now, so stay tuned because here's the Penn-Reading Industrial Division layout update for November 2023. So I am going to go right here, and you can see there's a lot of stuff that has been happening on this layout in the past few months, and I have been super busy working on it almost every single day. And of course, I took a break here and there. But anyway, we're going to go through and give a tour of the layout. But first, just to give a little bit of the specs. The layout takes place in the 40s and 50s. I modeled the Pennsylvania Railroad and the Reading Railroad. They sort of interchange together in this one fictional town. It's one big town and just separated by different scenes, and it is a representation of just a fictional industrial town in the state of Pennsylvania, and it's like I said, the 40s and 50s. I do model the early fall just because I like some green in a lot of the scenery that I do, and I'll say this, that the layout is a 6 feet wide by 14 feet long. As far as track, I use code 100. I use code 83. So the code 100 track is used on the Pennsylvania Railroad main lines. And the code 83 is used on the Reading branch line. Also, I use code 70 and 83 mixed on all the industrial tracks as well as the rail yard. So let's continue. This is the town of Emma. This is all one town, like I said. So we're going to start, I don't know where to start. We might just start right over here. So let's do that now. All right, so as you can see here, this is Emma, Pennsylvania, and this is the industrial section of the layout. This is where you operate all of your industries. And as you can see here, I have weathered all the tracks. All the track is weathered. I do have a weathering video. If it's not out now, it will be out very soon. And so I will just go through it quickly. That I used brown Rust-Oleum spray paint. Of course, it's flat. And then I went back with a pan pastel black powder, right? And I went over all the track with that. And then cleaned it, of course. Otherwise, we can't run the trains, right? So either way, right here is going to be the Allegheny secondary connection. This is what this is right here in the very foreground. And this connects to a staging cassette that I have built for the previous layout. And that is going to represent trains coming off of Darius's old layout onto this new layout that still features mainly his collection and the stuff that he has used on previous layouts, including a lot of the materials and buildings that you see here. And then it connects onto the Pennsylvania Railroad main line, and the Reading is right over here. So you have a beautiful junction here, and I'm going to show you this junction in a closer view. Okay, so here is Emma Junction, and you have the Allegheny secondary that comes onto the main lines. You have crossovers here from main line 1 to 2, and then you can also do there's a crossover here that goes from the main line number 2 to the branch line. And then you have a lead track and lead switches that go into the industries. And so what I'm going to do is give you a quick tour of all these industries that you can operate. Now, what I have done so far is I was able to have all of the track powered up. It's all powered now, finally. The only thing I have is I have to install these Caboose Industry switch stands. That way we can actually throw the switch back and forth. So right now, because these micro engineering switches are they've been used. They don't spring back the other way. They're fairly loose, so I need to actually use these hand throws and install them so we can actually do some operating sessions with all of these industries. But all of it is powered, all of it works, and it works great, thank goodness. But that's what we got going on here. All the track, like I said, is weathered here as well. And so let's go with the first industry, which is Emma Cement. Okay, so here we have Emma Cement. This is one of the buildings that Darius built for his Allegheny Secondary. You can have, I think it's about 8 cars can fit on both of these tracks together. And you can fit about 4 cars underneath this covering here. So while the cars are being dumped, you can store cars behind here. So you'll have all the empties back here and the loads here. And so you just flip them when you do an operating session, right? And then over here we have Boyer. We have Boyer Oil, which is right here. Now Boyer Oil is an actual company that's off the Wilkes-Barre branch on the Pennsylvania main line, the Wilkes-Barre branch line, which is just south of Wilkes-Barre, actually. So it's a real oil company. I don't think it ever was rail served, but it's going to be rail served on this layout. As we have a fly flying around. Anyway, so some buildings here just represent Boyer Oil. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to have here. I am going to have a road that comes across all the main lines, and it's going to come over here, so that way the cars and the trucks could come back, could come in and out of the facility over here. So let's move over to the next industries. Okay, the next industry we have is Hummel and Sons Furniture. Now, I don't know why I have it for furniture, but the title Hummel and Sons is from my friend Michelle Hummel. She passed away from cancer last year. And when I was a touring drummer, I met her on the road, and she loved trains. She loved anything transportation. And so every time I was performing in Pennsylvania, we would go out to all the different train watching and museum locations around Pennsylvania, from Scranton to Strasburg to Altoona to Gallitzin, to Cassandra, to just anywhere you could think of, we went to. And we went to a lot of museums and all those, and everything just railroading. Even Harrisburg, we went to Enola Yard, Altoona Yard, obviously. So this building is dedicated to her. She always collected old furniture, so I think that's why I named it the Furniture Warehouse. And this you can have up to 4 boxcars. Actually, 4 boxcars do fit under here, sort of. But you can have, there are 4 doors under here, so all 4 boxcars can fit under here. So this is a fun little industry that you can switch out as well. So let's continue downward to the next few industries. All right, so we have a few industries over here, and first I'm going to talk about Emma Freight House. The Emma Freight House is comprised of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. Okay, yes, 4 companies within this building. So you got every 3 sections is a company. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't have all the names just yet, but they're going to be after family members who either passed away or dedicated to some friends. Or maybe I'll find a company that actually the Pennsylvania Railroad actually worked. I don't know. Anyway, but you're going to have about 5 to, I think, 6 40-foot boxcars can fit here. So there's a lot of, when you operate this layout, you need to put them in a proper sequence, or at least for the proper business where those boxcars are being loaded or unloaded, right? In the foreground here, where these cars are, these wagons, this is a storage track for overflow for the industries. Now we have a track right here, and this track here is for the I want to say the Valley Automotive Works. Now that's a name I came up with, Valley, I guess because it sounds like it's in the valley. I don't know. It's Pennsylvania, Appalachia, you get it. And so we're gonna have automobile boxcars. Now I love automobile boxcars. They're some of my favorite boxcars from the 40s and 50s. And so this big building back here is going to be part of the Valley Automotive Works, but we're going to pretend that the building in the industry goes beyond what you see here, and the box cars go behind this freight house, hidden as if it's going into the industry. And so pretty much you're just pulling out the cars and sending cars in. So and it goes down to a slope. So all of this track down here is all on the foam itself, and you can see I have a little grate here, and it's actually pretty fun. You let the car just fly down, but it's not too bad. And so I have another track here where you can switch out. So this acts as a switching lead, also overflow, as well as the industry for the automotive works, and then this back track here. This continues back here, so you can switch out. You can fit about 4 box cars in a locomotive. So when you're doing some switching, at least you have a little bit of a lead to work out your switching, right? In the foreground here, I think you can see it on camera. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm right there, making sure I can see. This building my father built. Now, this is a building that is in Congers, New York, off the River Line on CSX. And he modeled this based off the old warehouse that used to be on the curve in Congers, New York, and on the Conrail days. Now I'm going to probably repaint this and do some touch-up work on this particular model. I originally had the train station from the original Penn-Reading Industrial Division over here, but for some reason now that I have the layout is one big town, I do have a big station on the other side of the layout, so there's no need to have another station within, I don't know, maybe a mile from each other. I don't know. Maybe. I'm still debating on what if I'm going to have this here or have the station here, because technically I can have passenger train come in and drop off all the workers that work these facilities in the industries, right? So I can do that too and put this somewhere else. Anyway, that's to be decided. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I really would greatly appreciate your opinions for sure. So this is Emma, the industrial section. Let's continue around the layout and see what else has been done that's new. Okay, so this is called Durban Grove. My friend Dave Durbin passed away this past year in April, and he was a fantastic model railroader, and he modeled the Union Pacific on the Van Buren subdivision. And so I wanted to have a place that had his last name, which is Durban, and so Durban Grove is going to be here. We have cut out the portion here of the foam that's going to be the little arch trestle that the Pennsylvania Railroad and the Reading Railroad actually had the same kind of architecture, almost like Greco-Roman, but it's going to be a stone arch bridge, kind of like what you see on the over the Susquehanna River, the Rockville Bridge. And then we're going to have the river go underneath the trestle. Of course, there'll be rocks and trees and all that stuff going on over here. Something that I need to turn the camera without breaking it, if I can. There we go. All right. So over here to the left, my niece Emily made this awesome looking cloud. And so what it is, it actually gives light to the rest of the layout on the side. And so all we did is use LEDs. And there's a video on my channel, I think on Touch of the Brush as well as the Penn-Reading, and it lights up. Now the next trick is that I'm going to buy some LEDs that have a thunder effect, and actually it looks really cool if you look on the other side of the layout, and looks like the clouds are just above the tree line of these mountains. So if it's really effective for scenery as well. And then we have this backdrop from Darius's layout, and this is just as effective, because if you look beyond the tunnel scene, you'll see all of this, and you'll see the mountain range on this this forest backdrop. So it looks really cool. So let's check out the city of Emma itself. So as you can see from the first update, or the recent update that I have done, there's a lot of change that has happened here. And the one thing we have, all the track is weathered except for the yard. The yard needs to, the track is in place, it's installed. I need to drop feeders to all of the switches, the yard ladders. I need to finish the track work that leads up to the turntable. And I need to work on this foam to make it level. I'm still having issues with that. I need to work on that before I finish the track work, as well as the backdrop city scene. So we have a 3-track yard, which both the Pennsylvania Railroad and the Reading Railroad use. And you can fit about 20 cars, which is give or take between 20 to 30 car trains is what I can run on this layout. As you can see here, I do have a modern train in the foreground, and I do have a 40s, 50s train in the behind here. Just to show you, I can run both, and it's fun to run both. Trust me, especially when I have folks over. We're gonna have a caboose track back here. We're gonna have a lead that goes right up to here, and this lead brings out the locomotives from the roundhouse after they get serviced. And they go to the yard, pick up their train, build the train, and they're off onto the main line. Right? That's the goal for here. Now the backdrops, I have worked on different buildings, and this was my very first flat kit that I ever put together just a few months ago. And this was a lot of fun. It's all weather ready to go except for a little bit of building details. There's this back building here. This is a kit bash of one building. So instead of making it 3-dimensional, I'm making a building flat. So the trick is I originally was going to model after Pitcairn, Pennsylvania. And the layout of the land is that you have the yard down below and the trees and the forest. And well, you have you have houses in the front and then there's trees behind it. And I like that. After going to Frank Ellis's NMRA clinic in Dallas during that convention, I was just floored at what you can do with buildings, and now I wanted to do a city. So the rest of Emma represents a little bit of Pittsburgh, Reading, as well as Philadelphia and Harrisburg. So you have a little bit of everything of what a Pennsylvania big city or small city will look like. And so the trick is to have a lot of storefronts. It's more, again, it's industrial layout. So we're not going to have many residential except for this Park View terrace tenements. These will be backdrop flats, backdrop buildings and building flats on the backdrops here, They'll be back there. And then all these different buildings will be in the foreground, and you'll have a road in the front. And what's great is these pieces of foam, I could pick them up, they're modules, and so I'm going to build a module, like a module, so I could take them off the layout, work on the buildings and the scenery, and place it right back on the layout. So that's why you have 2 separate pieces of foam. And so it gives a little bit of a height difference. It shows a little bit of depth, a little bit of forced perspective in a way, where you have the foreground buildings, which are more 3D. You have the flat buildings behind it. And the cool thing is that I'm working on is that there is going to be a track that will go from the bottom here. It will incline all the way up down this way. And I don't know if you can see the rest of the layout. We're going to get over there in a second. But that's the plan, is to have a track that goes behind these buildings like you have in Philadelphia, or even like New York, because if you look at Penn Station in New York, the trains come out of the tunnel and they go up an incline, and they go pretty much street level, and they head north up to Montreal from New York Penn Station to come out of the tunnels underneath the river. So that's kind of what I'm going for here. And so we have a road, and this is all called Vine Street. So Vine Street, there's going to be an overpass over here, and I'm going to show you that section now. Okay, so here's going to be, so this section was going to be a Vine Street, and this is Vine Street overpass. It's going to go across the tracks here, kind of blocking the rest of here. And as you can see, from the view, I know it's kind of light. The light is reflecting off the camera, so it looks like it's overexposed. But I'll have some photos of what I'm going for. So yeah, we're gonna have building backdrops back here. I don't think I'm gonna use these. I have a lot of actual 3D building flats that I'm gonna put back here, and there'll be trees behind it. So it looks like it's going past the mountain and into the distance. This will be a road overpass that will go and hide back here somewhere. And so that's what this scene is going to be. So it's going to look nice as the train's coming out of the tunnel, as if it's coming out of underneath the buildings, kind of like you see in New York and maybe Philadelphia. Okay, now over here is the engine facility. We're going to have the D. Chagnon locomotive facility. That's for Darius Chagnon. So it's dedicated to him. And it's a 3-stall roundhouse. I may have a track on each side that are outside, so it looks like you can see some work being done outside of the roundhouse. We're gonna have a track come up here This is, I think it's going to be a maintenance of way track, maybe diesel locomotive facility as well. I'm not sure just yet. I may do both. Over here, this stuff is just temporarily here. I do have a coal tower is going to go here. We're going to have some water, some water towers and stuff like that. Anything that's locomotive facility based, that's what's going to go here. And so the track that's going to come behind the building is going to come up here and come across this bridge. I do have a bridge that I'm currently building. It's going to go across the main line. It's kind of like you see in Pittsburgh. There's a spot where the Union Railroad goes over the Conroe main line, which now I think it's Norfolk Southern or CSX. I'm not sure. But that's kind of what I was going for with that effect. And then over here, I have this awesome, I don't know if it could be seen in the video. Yeah, I can see it. We're going to talk about this in a second, but I'm building a diorama as we speak. If you follow my YouTube channels, both YouTube channels, I am doing awesome. I find it a lot of fun, a fun series on building these dioramas, so that way we can show you what I'm going to be doing in the process of building the scenery on this side of the layout. Okay, so most of the videos that you see with the diorama series, I'm behind this thing like a jack in the box. But we're going to have a coal trestle here that goes across. Now, the coal trestles were used on the main lines a lot. So where you have the Pennsylvania will bring up coal loads, and it will dump into the coal trestle, into these bays, and they'll be dumped into the steam tenders. And so that way they can replenish their coal on the go, pretty much. So they can stop on the main line, kind of like a NASCAR team, you know. They stop on the main line, fill up with coal, and they continue on the journey. So that's what's going on here. And so I wanted a nice rock cut on each side here, and some different elevations. Even though this is the tabletop layout, this is going to give you the effect that there's a little bit of a grade or a slight change in elevation to make the layout look a little bigger. And also create some nice effective scenery to create just the Appalachian Mountains, you know. The goal is I have this beautiful kit, and this is by RS Laser Kits. I met this wonderful couple at the NMRA show, and this is going to be a old abandoned a passenger car. And it's going to go right here. I'm going to have a little hobo camp. Now, I was very fortunate to win the second section workbench of the week. And so Mini Prince was on there. If you know Bernard, he's an awesome dude. He makes some incredible stuff. And he is the guy that I was able to get a gift card from him. And so I am planning on buying a little bit, some detail parts to create a little hobo camp. So as I'm behind here, like what's his name from Man of the House? I can't think of the show. With the Tool Man. I can't. Anyway, Home Improvement. That's it. So that's what's going to go over here. We're going to have billboards over here, stuff like that. So there'll be a lot of scenery. I am currently in the process of building the next diorama. By the time this video is being shown, I'm sure it's probably 3/4 already built, or at least it's ready for scenery. So I'm sure in the December update, I'll show you what's happening with the rest of the dioramas. Alright, something else I have done, I've added some of these light fixtures to show off the layout on the sides. This room is very, very dark when you don't have these lights on, just because I have just a ceiling fan fixture above the layout. And so now I'm able to see a lot of the layout now. It's not the prettiest thing, as you can see. It's not the prettiest thing in the world. I'm going to see what else I can do to fix that. But at least now I have light in the layout. You can actually see it. So it really makes the city scene stand out so much more. It's great. Also, another thing, I had a friend of mine who gave me these mats, these rubber mats. And I'm telling you, this is really good for your feet, especially if you're barefoot or just in socks, because this is like a concrete floor underneath this vinyl. And so actually standing on this and working on the layout helps my back, it helps my feet not hurt for so long, and especially if you're operating the layout, this is actually really comfortable to have. I know Steve Davis has it on his on the floor of his layout, which is the KCS Dirt Sub, and so it's really cool to have something like this, so that way it helps your feet. Really, it's just really comfortable. So everyone, thank you so much for the support you have for this channel, or both channels. And thank you so much for the encouragement and support of building this layout. I'm having a great time. We're going to have some more videos, some more running videos. I'm having such a great time building it right now that I'm not really running the trains. But we're going to run some of the trains here. If this video is not too long, we'll have a couple of trains running for you to see. Because, you know, that's the cool part of running a layout, right? Is running the trains. So thank you guys so much for watching this update. And stay tuned for the next one and all the other videos and all the progress that's coming very, very soon.